recording. Okay, so welcome, guys. Welcome to another new day of our challenge, our front-end interview challenge. And before starting, I want to introduce a new member to all of you. Vijay, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, Karan. I am Vijay. I am from the Pune. I am from 2 months. I am learning web development course, and now I am interested in the joining the group. I am seeing the YouTube channel, and I want to join there. And my skills are now HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I am not that much good in, but I am learning that things. This is all about me. Thank you.
Okay. So nice to meet you, Vijay. So as Vijay told us, she joined through the YouTube channel. Okay, she watched the videos and she commented and she contact with our like Vishal bhai, and now she joined in a group. So you can also do the same. You can just comment on our videos and contact with us on the group, which we provide the link inside the description of the video. You can also join. You can also be a uh, participant of our meet. So let's start with the meet now. So I am the interviewer today, myself Karan. I am here with my amazing friends Supriya, Vijay Lakshmi, Amit, and Vishal bhai. And I'm the host, so I have to decide the topic. And I have decided the topic DOM, and little bit HTML and CSS. So it is the whole interview of that. Now I want to start with Supriya. Supriya, for you, question is what is DOM?
Okay. DOM stands for Document Object Model, firstly, and it is used for manipulating the elements and tags which are already in existence in the form of HTML document. We can manipulate those all elements and attributes with the help of DOM, and we can even create and delete the elements through the JavaScript only using the DOM properties. And also there we can, it is a dynamic property of DOM that we can even manipulate the things in certain ways, like we can catch them with different IDs, classes and all. So these all things are to be covered in DOM only. So this is the DOM, a dynamic object model.
Okay. So what is the full form of DOM according to you?
Document object
Achha.
model.
Okay, yes. You mentioned dynamic object model, na? So that's why.
No, by dynamic I mean that we can change it.
I understand. Okay. Now the next question is for Vijay Lakshmi. Vijay Lakshmi, your question is how do you access an element in the DOM using JavaScript?
Okay, basically there is a used get element by id, document dot get element by id, get element by get element by name. It also we can extract a query selector, and also we are using the query selector all, and query selector is gives only one element, and query selector all is gives the for classes. And for suppose we want to extract the id, then hash using, and by class we want to extract that dot using, by name it is directly double quoted name using.
Okay, so now the next question is for Amit. Amit, your question is what are some methods for selecting DOM elements? Like you have to mention all the methods. How can we select any DOM element?
Okay, so there are lots of methods through which we can select multiple elements as well as single elements. So first is by the ID. So the method is that get element by ID. This is the first method. By providing the ID of the element specifically, you can grab the element. Second is get element by class name. So in this you provide the class that you have given on to the element. It will return you an array, because classes maybe multiple have the same classes. So this is why it will give you an array. Third is the tag name. So get element by tag name. Similarly, since you must have multiple tags with the same tag name, so it will also return you an array. And others are query selectors. So query selector are of two types: query selector all and query selector only. Query selector method will you need to pass the selector. Like there you can add classes as well and IDs as well, or you can add a multiple, like a row of classes and IDs selectors. But by that either you can grab one element or you can grab multiple elements. If you use query selector all, then it will give you all the elements that are matching that selector, and it will give you an array. But query selector obviously gives you, returns you a single element. Yeah, so these methods that I currently know of.
Okay. Now the next question is for Vishal Bhai. Vishal Bhai, your question is explain the difference between get element by ID and query selectors method.
Yeah. These basically with the help of get element by ID, we can select a particular node in which we gave a particular ID. So with the help of that ID, we can select by using get element by ID that node, or and also we can manipulate that node after selecting. And second, so what you asked second thing? Query
Get
selector.
element by ID and query selector.
Yeah. So the second thing by which we can iterate over whatever node we have given with the help of query selector. So apart from query selector, we have also a query selector all thing by which we can select all the nodes in one way with by help of query selector all. But we use query selector. So with the help of query selector, we can also select a particular thing which we want to manipulate, or which we want to make any changes. Yeah.
Okay, so if for example there is any div with the class name container, so how you select it in with the help of query selector? Can you tell me?
Yeah. So basically, query selector selects first node of first element of that node. Or if we like implement get element by ID instead of using query selector, so it will select that particular thing which in which we gave that ID. Yeah.
No, Vishal Bhai, I am asking the syntax. How you will select that ID, like that ID, whatever ID it is. You have to select it inside with the help of query selector. There is a container, okay, dot container. There is a class dot container. You have to select it with the help of query selector. How you will select it?
Yeah. So the syntax is very simple. First, we need to write query selector and dot that particular node, name of that node. With the help of this, we can select that first element of that node, whatever we have. I think this is what I know.
Let me explain you first. Okay, so the basic syntax is document dot query selector. Then in the parenthesis, we will mention that whatever it is. If it is a class, we will mention with dot. If it is an ID, we will mention it with hash. So you have to explain
Yes.
that way. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now the next question is for Supriya. Supriya, your question is, what is the purpose of text content property in DOM?
Text content property, by which you mean inner HTML or?
It is same. It is same. Just you have to tell.
Okay. So text content property is this, that whenever we are manipulating a element from the HTML, then we have to write inside that particular tag that whatever we want to write. So for that we use inner HTML, so that we can add any sentence or any thing whichever we want to get written inside that particular tag, that is known as inner HTML. And inner text is similar to that, but whenever we want to display it to the browser, there are two things that are different. That inner HTML will give you the text with the tag itself, but when you are writing inner text, then definitely the text will be shown to you inside the browser. So that is the difference between both, and we use it to just to write anything whichever we want inside the tags. So that's why we use inner HTML or inner text.
Okay, can you give me any example of using text content or inner text? Any example?
Yeah, sure. So if you are writing if you are catching an element from the HTML, like document.get element by tag name h1, and then you want to write something inside it, but you don't want to go to the HTML page. So you can there you can write dot inner text, and inside the bracket you can write whatever the text you want to return.
Okay. So there are three ways, like there are main two ways. How can we write that thing inside that? Like we can write it in a single quote or double quote. Then there is also one more thing. So I want you to explain that also.
Dot. I just told you we
No,
can write.
not dot. I am talking about when you are writing something, na, some string, like you want that it should be inside that text content. So there are two methods. First of all, we can write inside single quote or double quote. Then there are back notations also. So I
Okay,
want difference
backticks,
between.
backticks. Yeah, yeah,
Backticks, right.
backticks. Yeah. Those can be also used, but
Ah.
those tags when those are used, so they don't throw you any error. You can write anything, like it can be a number, it can be a string, it can be variable, anything it can be. It will not throw you error. But whenever you are writing it between the strings only, then you are adding something, like you are writing 2 plus 3, and that you want to display as a text, but it will not get displayed when it is beside the string. It will simply add on to that, like 2 3 will be displayed. So for that, avoiding that problem, you can add backticks, which will avoid this problem. Whatever you have written, it will be displayed similar to that. So
Or can you give me any syntax? How can you add any other element inside that text with the help of back notation?
okay, so you have to use curly braces, and inside the curly braces you have to use the dollar sign, and then you can write the text.
No,
Or
there's
something
little mistake inside, not inside the curly braces. We have to first
outside.
of all give the dollar sign, then we have to use curly braces.
Yeah. Okay, got
Okay.
it.
Okay, so the next question is for Vijay Lakshmi. Vijay Lakshmi, your question is, how do you create a new HTML element using JavaScript?
Can you repeat once again, sir?
Okay, so your question is, how do you create a new HTML element using JavaScript?
Okay. We
Let me
can use
give you more brief
yes.
example. Okay, so if you want to create any new tag or any new element with the help of JavaScript only, you
Yes.
don't want to go
Yes.
to HTML to write again, but you want to manipulate it with the help of JavaScript only.
Yes.
You want to create it from JavaScript. So
Yes.
what is that method called?
Okay. Document dot create element, in the parenthesis we can write the in double quote, that is I want to create S2, then S2 we want to write that, like.
Okay.
This is my
Okay,
answer.
can you give me any example of that? Matlab, how you gonna use it if it is necessary?
Okay, in that we only create the now tag that, and we in that we want to add the text. That's the reason we use the append the child node in that. Actually, that much I am not able to explain, but I
No
use
problem,
that.
no problem. Okay, no problem. I got it.
Yes.
Okay, so now next question is for Amit. Amit, your question is, how do you add or remove CSS classes from an element using JavaScript? Add or remove CSS classes from element.
Yeah. So for that, we have a method called, first we need to obviously select the element from the DOM itself, like using any method, get element by ID or anything else. And then after that, when we have the element, then there is a method called class list. So you add that class list, and after that, if you want to add any new class to it, just write another method dot add, and within the parenthesis you give the class's name. So you can add one class, you can add two class separated by spaces, of course. Then this is the way you can add classes. But in case if you want to remove classes, then again the same procedure, then write dot add dot class list, and then dot remove. So remove, pass the element, or sorry, pass the classes that you want to remove from that element, and it will remove that class from the element.
Okay. Nice explanation. Now, next question is for Vishal Bhai. Vishal Bhai, your question is, what is an event listener method used in the DOM? So, what is add event listener?
Yeah, so basically, we have several events in JavaScript, like click, mouse, hover. These are the events that we have. If we want to execute any of that event, so we add event listener in our code. With the help of event listener, we can like trigger whatever events we want to trigger with the help of that. So yeah, that's it. Basically, we can trigger any events with the help of event listener.
Okay. Can you tell me the what is the syntax of that using
Yeah.
event listener? If we want to like we want to give any button that method add event listener, so how you will give it?
Uh, so basically, I need to explain the syntax of event listener, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, first we write make a function, and then inside that we can add event listener to trigger that function whenever we want to trigger it. I mean, in our code, at that I mean uh, any of the moment in which when we want to trigger that particular function. So with the help of add event listener function method, we can trigger that function.
Okay. So
Yeah,
in
it's
parenthesis, first of all, what we have to give? Add
add
event listener.
yeah add event listener. Inside that
Then parenthesis. Then
yeah we write our function whatever we want to execute.
no. First of all, we have to give that what is the function of that. No, yani we have to click on it or double click on it or submit it. First of all,
Yeah,
we have to mention that what is the action that we want to do with it. Then we write function. So there's little mistake.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Now the next
little bit
question is
confused.
no problem. Now the next question is for Supriya. Supriya, your question is what is the difference between query selector and query selector all?
Okay. So basically, I will explain you first query selector. Query selector is a property which helps you get the elements or tags which are already present in our HTML document. So query selector is this, that you have to write like get element by IDs like that in other contexts, but when you are writing query selector, you don't have to mention that id or class. In simply parenthesis, you have to give the sign which we already use in css, like you can use dot for classes, hashtag for query selector. In query
Right.
selector, whenever you are writing like hashtag or class, it will only select a one element from your document. It will not select all the elements with same classes. For example, you have given one class name to multiple h1 tags, okay, but if you are going to access those all elements and you are using only query selected, then definitely the very first element will get selected and will be displayed on your browser. But when you are using query selector all, then it will give you all classes name which sorry, all the elements with same classes name. So this is the difference between both. But yes, the syntax is quite similar, only that inside the parenthesis you have to use the sign only to get the elements by class or IDs. Yeah.
Okay, so you mean query selector, when we use query selector, then it will give us single element, but when we use query selector all, it will give us multiple elements, right? But there's little issue, like query selector all provides us array of elements. So that is
Yeah,
also needed.
array. Yeah, okay.
It provides us array. Okay. Now next question is for Vijay Lakshmi. Vijay Lakshmi, your question is what is the difference between append child and insert before method?
Sorry.
What is
Instant.
the difference between append child and insert before method?
I know only append child.
Okay,
We
explain it.
we create the by using the create a element s2 tag, but to in that we want to add a text. That's the reason we use the append child. You said second one, I don't know about that.
Okay. So I am giving you the proper explanation. So append child is used to add anything at the end of the list. Like it will provide that element. When we are appending any element, it will just go at the end of that list. Okay. But when we are we are using insert before method. So it will provide that element before that specific list. Yani it will go first, then okay. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Ah.
yes.
So it
Yes.
comes first, but when we are using append child, it
Last it
adds
is
the
coming.
thing at the last. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So that is the difference between append child and insert before. Now the next question is for
Yes.
Amit. Amit, your question is what is the purpose of parent node and child node properties?
What is the purpose of parent node and child node property?
Yeah.
Okay, so parent node, let's say we have an element, we have grabbed an element from the DOM and we apply dot parent node property or dot parent node method, we can say, then it will return us the parent node of that specific element. Let's say we have a div, and inside one div we have a p tag. So we selected that p tag and we applied element dot parent node, then that thing will return us whatever the parent of that element is. In this case we will have a div in this case. But if we write onto that div, let's say we grab that div from the DOM and we applied a child node, then we will get an array of all the child nodes we have inside that. It will return an array. Array we will have all the child's node respectively. Currently we have only one p tag, so we will have an array with only one p tag.
Okay, good, Amit. Now the next question is for Vishal. Vishal, your question is what is the purpose of inner HTML property in DOM? Inner
Yeah.
HTML.
Yeah. So basically, with the help of inner HTML, we can access the text content which is inside the inner, which is inside the particular node. So we can access that text, or we can, if we want to manipulate or we want to change the text content which is written inside any particular tag, so we can access that text with the help of inner HTML. Yeah.
Can you give me any example that how can you use inner HTML?
Yeah, I can give example. Let's suppose we have some text which is written inside a div. So with the help of dot inner text, we can access that text, or with the help of inner HTML, we can directly access that particular tag with the help with that uh, text content. So inner HTML gives us whole tag, or inner text give us that particular text which is written inside.
Okay. Now the next question is for Supriya. Supriya, your question is how can you prevent default behavior in an event handler?
Okay. So prevent default is basically used when we are creating a form in any HTML document, and we are trying to access that document, and there is a default behavior of form that whenever you write any details of any user, it will suddenly appear and disappear. It will not take even a half second to get disappeared. So that is a default function. So in order to prevent that, we use we use prevent default function of JavaScript, which helps us to remove this default property of form. So this is how it works.
Okay. Now the next question is for Vijay Lakshmi again. Vijay Lakshmi, your question is what is DOM tree? DOM tree.
Okay. Whenever web pages is loaded on the browser, then it is a DOM is a tree like structure. It will be parent node, after that it is come the child node, text node. This is a like tree like structure. It will be created, that is called a DOM tree diagram, right? Yet okay, this is my answer.
Okay, so Amit, your question is Vishal bhai, can you pause the recording for a second?
Yeah.
Start. Okay, so now next question is for Amit. Amit, your question is what is the difference between element and attribute?
Okay, so a difference between element and attribute. So in HTML, we write different elements like hashtag or div tag or any other image tag, let's say. So all the elements are basically the same. But when we talk about the attributes, then those attributes are very different for each and every element. For heading tag, we don't really use any attribute, but we might have the attribute. So attributes are basically the properties, the extra properties that we are giving to any element, or the default properties as well. Let's say, for example, the image tag. So image is a self-closing tag. That means we have only the opening tag, and that image is actually used to show the image. So for that, we need to provide the URL or the link. So for that, we use the src attribute. So here, src attribute is a property that takes the link, and through that only it is able to show that. Similarly, we can use other attributes like the style attribute. Style attribute we can use for each and every element, and in this attribute we provide the CSS styling for the styling purpose, of course. So these are the attributes, and alt attribute is also there for images. So in simple words, attributes are the properties that we define to each and every element in JavaScript, in HTML, to provide it more functionality or styling. Yeah.
Okay. Now the last question of the day is from Vishal bhai, and your question is, what are selectors in CSS?
Selectors, yeah. So basically we have selectors in CSS. So with the help of selector, we can select any particular element. By selecting them, we can manipulate or change the functionality of that particular tag, or whatever we want to make it. So with the help of that, we can change. So we have, I think we have 5 types of selectors in CSS. So just like JavaScript, so element selector, tag selector, ID selector, class selector, one of them is universal selector. So star is our universal selector, but with the help of universal selector, we can implement CSS functionality, whatever we gave it inside that universal selector, it will automatically implement on the whole web page or in the whole code, whatever we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice explanation. Like I want to ask you one more thing. There is one thing which we called sibling selector. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you explain that?
Siblings selector, yeah. I know that, but I'm not able to
Okay.
explain
So
that.
what is the use of that? Can you tell me? If you know
Siblings,
that, you can.
with the help of sibling selector, we can select multiple selectors at a time.
No. Okay,
Yeah,
so I will tell you. Sibling selector is simple. Whenever we want any element which is beside another element, we use sibling selector. So it will just take that element which is like in next to that. So that's why we use sibling selector. So that's the end of our day. Okay, end of our interview. My special shout out for Amit. He answered all the questions well, and all of you also give the great answers. Just one feedback for all of you guys, like you have to practice more. Like you know the things, but somewhere there is lack of practice, so you are not able to explain all the things properly. Back in mind, you know all the things, but you are not explaining it properly. So that's my feedback for you all, my common feedback for you all. And that's the end of our day. If you like, I tell you in starting, if you want to join a group as a guest member, you can join like Vijay Lakshmi did. You can just mention your name, or you can just add on in a group which we made. Link is in the description. And also mention your favorite person from all of us in the comments, and you know who is he. And now it's the end of our day. And bye bye. We will meet you soon. And bye bye.